Mm.
are at the end of the 2026 FIFA World Cup books. You know, 48 teams have been whittled down to two teams, and the two teams have played, and we have a winner for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So,
España.
España pulled it out, So, we're just gonna give our thoughts, impressions, and standout moments from actually both games this weekend, from the final and from the third place match, because I think they were both equally entertaining in their own respects. So we're gonna compare the two and give our thoughts, standout moments, player analysis. I'll toss it out to the panelists. You have Arsenal champion, and we have Cheeks. So go for it, anybody.
All right. I'll jump in. So amazing tournament. Me and KJ, we were talking. Me and KJ, Cheeks, we were talking before, and I'm like, this is the best World Cup I've ever seen. So, I
Yes.
just want to start by saying the World Cup was amazing. Even though we will do a roundup at the end and give our thoughts on the entire tournament. But that lived up to its billing even until the last match. Right. I'll start with the game that occurred first, which is the third place game. I had to be convinced by my wife to watch that game. To be fair, she actually dragged me
She,
because I'm like, this makes no sense. Why am I watching this game? But I
oh,
am absolutely glad that she did because the game was
yes.
amazing. It is one of the games that will I'll always remember when it comes on to World Cup because it was two giants going up against each other, and we were talking so much about the English team and what they did not do, and they did exactly that in the third place game,
Hmm.
which is playing expansive football, trying to keep the ball under pressure, that kind of thing. And then we have the team who many of us thought that was the best team, player for player in the World Cup, going up against them, and they got defeated by England. So I think it was an amazing game. It reminded me so much of the Bayern Munich PSG game in the Champions League where two
Yes.
heavyweights were just going blow for blow, blow for blow. First half, England dominated 4-0. You're like, whoa, what's going on here? I mean, and then I could see Killian, taking charge and be like, guys, this is not us. And I know the French; they're very proud people, and that kind of score it's very embarrassing
Hmm.
for them. So I expected them to come out and play, and they did exactly that. And the game ended up 6-4. Last goal from Jude. Shout out to Jude, really top player in this tournament, and he showed that again, even for the small amount of time that he came on. So that was a third place game. I think it was amazing. Shout out to my guy Saka who got a hat trick on that in that game.
Arsenal
Uh,
champion.
of course. Tuchel not playing him was a disaster in itself, and I
Yeah.
think he showed why he should have played him. But that was the third place game. It was amazing. In regards to the finals, my thoughts on that was, well, I'm going to put it like this: did the best team win the World Cup and the finals? My answer to that is yes. Man for man, as I said, France is probably the best team in terms of star power and top players. But when it comes on to team, that is the key word. I think
Hmm.
that the best team won the tournament. The best team won the finals, which is Spain. I don't think that there's much argument to that. Argentina played well, and I know many persons will be surprised by this. But what do I mean by that? They played how, and I'm bringing it back to Arsenal again. Sorry, guys, this is my team, so I'm doing a lot of comparisons with this. I'm bringing it back to Arsenal in the Champions League finals. We knew that PSG was a better team, and so did Argentina. Argentina knows that they cannot outpass Spain, so what they tried to do was restrict them to, yes, pass, but we are not going to allow you to score on us. We are going to set up well defensively and try to contain the game from that perspective. And they did just that all the way to the extra time. So I will say Argentina played good in that respect. Where they fell short was they couldn't get their attacking players, i.e., top guy Lionel Messi, on the ball, and that restricted them to almost nothing. But it is the way Spain played the ball, and we've been talking about that a lot. If Spain, sorry, decide that they are going to play how they know how to, which is passing game, you cannot get this ball, you are in trouble. And things like what we saw in the finals, which is a red card, can happen because it gets very frustrating. You're chasing the ball, chasing the ball, chasing the ball, you cannot get it, and boom, you do something silly, and it results in a red card. So I think from that perspective, Spain played well, but I think in the end, Argentina played well. Sorry, but I think in the end, Spain deserved to win. One thing that I wanted to highlight before I turn it over to Cheeks is that Rodri is back. Rodri is back, and I mentioned Rodri specifically because
Yes.
he's the heart of the team, commanding player he is, and he showed, especially after the injury, that I am still that guy. I am still Ballon d'Or Rodri, and he just imposed himself on the game. He controlled it, going in both directions. You know what I mean, and the game just showed us that system football is still king, man. System football is still king. But I'm gonna stop there and I'm gonna turn it over to Cheeks for him to give his thoughts on the.
thank you, Arsenal champion. It's interesting you mentioned Rodri because I will be bringing up Rodri later on in this episode because to me, standout player. What I will say about the England France game is, for a long time it felt like a training session, and I'm an England fan through and through. But even though we were winning, I was like, something's not right here. And I think I texted in the group chat. Once England scored the second goal, they
You did.
showed Mbappe's face, and Mbappe was
Yeah.
smiling, and I was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
oh no," because something about that smile told me Mbappe was disappointed, but he's like, "We got this."
Yeah,
France didn't look like they were panicking at any stage. I think when the third and the fourth one came in, there was a bit of panic. But when you're
yeah,
losing 2-0 and you're like, we still got this, I'm like, oh no, this is not
yeah.
good.
This could be
So
trouble.
yeah, and honestly, I was disappointed in France. I was really scared for France. Yes, England deserve. I don't know about deserve, but yes, England played their hearts out in the first half. But this is Deschamps' last game. This is
Yeah.
not just anyone. This is the
Mhm.
captain of France in 1990. I remember Deschamps playing, which makes me feel old that I remember this guy playing. He's won a World Cup. He's coached the team for 14 years and he's retiring. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But I was like, France can't do this to Deschamps after everything he's done. And sure enough, they came in the second half and they gave it to them. Now, was England playing their best team? No, but I don't think France are playing their best team either. But again, I think this World Cup was the World Cup of superstars, and that third and fourth game really showed it. Mbappe stepped up. Jude came into the game, and I mean, he almost scored with his first touch. He just missed that, but he almost scored with his first touch. And
Big
his
dude.
goal, it was a joke. I think he took on like two or three players, and he kept going. So I will say that game was a training match. At the end of it, 6-4, I think England should be proud. That's the highest they've ever ended since
Mhm.
Yeah,
1966.
66.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I know there's a lot of calls to fire Tuchel. I don't think he should be fired yet. I think you need to give him the Euros because again, De La Fuente for Spain, it takes time to instill
Yeah.
a way of playing. I think
Agreed.
England are still figuring it out. I'm curious. I want to say thank you, Deschamps, for everything. This is a great team. I heard Zidane's coming in next. That's going to be interesting. Even though France has all this talent, there's a rebuild that needs to happen there. As Arsenal champion and me as a Man U fan know, and Kojo, you know, as a Chelsea fan, a rebuild is always a bit risky. It gets a bit shaky at
Yes.
the beginning.
It can get hairy at
100.
times.
But jumping to the final, I don't know. There were no surprises there, but Spain did do what they do. I think Argentina had one shot on goal all game,
Yes. All
Yeah.
game.
and
90
one
minutes,
thing,
90 minutes, zero shots on target.
yeah, and that's one thing I think we don't talk about enough about Spain. We talk about their passing, their midfield, but their defense, Unai Simon. I had some questions when he was picked over Raya, but that's because I watch
Hmm.
Premier League and I don't know who
Yeah.
Unai Simon is. But
Hmm.
Unai Simon was great. Sweeper keeper. Their defense was solid. Their best defense was their passing. You just
Yeah.
couldn't touch the ball to even get a shot on
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. But
Um, yeah,
sorry, Cheeks. On Unai
go for it.
Simon, just before you finish up, I I still don't think that he's Spain's best keeper. But I was telling KJ that when you play in a system like Spain plays, it's a system that you can hide players that are not so good in. Not saying that he's not so
Mm.
good, but if you understand what the system does and you do that, you fit in very well. So I don't think Unai Simon is the best keeper. I think there are two keepers that are better than him. But he has been playing with the system so long, he understands exactly what he needs to do. So he fits like a glove. But yeah, I'm gonna let you finish.
It's actually really interesting because I think I saw a video somewhere, and when De La Fuente, I think he might have won something with the under 21s. Unai Simon was the goalkeeper for that.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's been working with Unai
It's
Simon
his guy.
forever.
It's his guy. He trusts him.
Yeah. But I don't know. The final, I don't have much to say. I think Argentina tried their best, although I was a bit concerned about certain matchups. I think Simeone should have been playing from the beginning because
Mm,
Simeone is dogged. He's going to chase down balls. As
mm.
I said, I don't think that Martinez and Romero can deal with this tiki-taka football, and they both cramped up and got finished
Yeah.
like within the beginning. The minute I saw Otamendi warming up, I was like, "Oh, this is done." But but kudos to Otamendi. No yellow card. He played this game. I mean, 1-0, nothing to put your head down about. That was a
Yeah.
good game. Argentina gave them a tough game. The goal, I mean, I don't even know what to say about. Ferran Torres hit that so sweetly, but we need to give kudos to Williams because many players would have
Nico.
not chased
Yeah.
that ball. He kept
Yeah.
going
Yes.
Yeah.
and headed it back.
Yes.
He had a
So
very good run when he came on.
he did. And Cucurella, another player. I mean, I hate on him, but I think it's more about his hair. But he's a solid left back. He's annoying, but he's a solid left back. So I have to give it to him. I'll talk about Rodri later because I think we're going to talk about players during this tournament. So I
Yeah.
don't want to
This
talk too
episode,
much.
yes,
That
absolutely,
was great.
absolutely. No, I will touch on both of what you said. I think the third place match to begin with, and I was discussing this with national champion before we go went live on air today. There's a freedom and there's a sort of flexibility that you play with when, let's say, the stakes are not as high as let's say a final. And it was evident in the way the creative players from both teams, from both France and England, expressed themselves in the third place match, and also evident in the scoreline: 10 goals being scored in one match. And regarding Saka and Rashford, and Saka in particular, we discussed it. We're like, if Tuchel had just brought in Saka or Rashford or both of them when they went up 1-0 against Argentina in the semi-final, maybe we would have had a different result or outcome. But again, that's hindsight. Who can predict what the future holds, or can go back in time and change what's happened? But that's behind us. But it's just evident, the skill and the talent that's on both teams, and them being able to display their strengths and putting up 10 goals in a single match. And now just suppose that against the final, which is, the highest, the pinnacle, the most, I won't say most stressful, but the highest stakes match in world football. And, I think both teams played according to their strength. And of course, Spain came out on top. But that midfield with Rodri, and you cannot say any word against them. Like, I think when they're on their game and when Rodri is pulling the strings from the central midfield position, it's madness. So kudos to them and kudos to Spain for winning the World Cup. I think Argentina accounted for themselves as best they could.
Mhm.
They got a red card. There was
Imagine you are down. Imagine you are down, and you look to Spain's bench, and they're bringing on Pedri and and
yes,
Ferran Torres.
yes,
You're
and
like,
Ferran
oh god,
Torres. So I know they accounted for themselves pretty well, Argentina. So it's a
yeah,
final. Somebody has to win it, and the goal that came, was from nowhere. Just header back from Nico Williams, and Ferran Torres smashes it to the roof of the net. So again, it was a good tournament, a good final, and good third place match, but it was both evident in both matches what the stakes are and how free the players were able to play. So that's my take on that. Go ahead, Chiefs.
Can I add two things?
Go
Like,
for it.
this game might have felt boring to some, but I think it was a good game. And I want to
Mhm.
point out two moments that really made the game exciting for me. There was one moment where I almost had a heart attack. Spain are winning. I think Spain were winning 1-0. Argentina go up for an attack. And I think Messi crossed it in and someone just cleared it and it was really
yeah.
close to goal.
Yeah, I
When
think
I
we all
tell
had
you,
that moment.
my heart, because
Yeah.
you know what? Even though Spain were in control, I was never 100% sure till the final whistle.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
I, I
yeah.
had
Argentina could do
I
you.
ran to the bathroom in that moment, Cheek. So
Honestly, Argentina could do you any moment. Like Messi
yeah,
could
bro.
finish. And you know who man of the match might be?
That
Marino's
Martinez.
face. Marino's face might be man of the match. Because let me tell you something. They'll show some replays later. But when Marino came in, I was at the watch party and I said, this is the guy who might get them the game. Marino is the guy.
Yeah,
And when Marino got hit in the face, one of my friends said, you know what? He might have just saved them. Because I don't know where that ball was going. But it was Messi
No,
who hit it.
yeah,
And it was going with
yeah.
speed.
slapped it like
It
a
was going with
rocket, bro.
speed. Yeah, exactly.
Slapped it
Marino's
like a
face
rocket.
saved the game. And
Yeah,
another final one, they're the last moment. Enzo Fernandez's red card.
Mhm.
He had the guy doing somersaults in the air and he got up and is doing this. I'm like,
No, 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 can't be a yellow.
I'm like, are you serious? I was like, even if he's faking, because one guy on the watch party said he must be faking. That's why he's doing that. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you fake a somersault.
He did a 360, a 360 mid-air.
I was like, you cannot fake that. Dude was flipping in the air. You can't fake it.
So just before we go in the other section, KJ, I'm going to touch on two things that Cheek said.
Go
And it
for
was
it. Go for it.
one, the that moment when Argentina almost scored. I'm like, what in God's name? I have done rappelling in the past, and the first time you do rappelling, you feel this feeling in your stomach. It's like a what do you call it? A roller coaster, and that is the feeling that I felt. I'm like, oh shit. I mean, so it was a madness. But I want to shout out one person on the losing team today, and that is Emi Martinez. That guy is an
Yes.
absolute
Yes. Yes.
a-hole, but he's a boss of a keeper, man. He
Mhm.
is a top keeper, and I just want to say his heroics again in this World Cup. Remember last World Cup he did it, so
Mhm.
I just want to say yes, that guy deserves a shout out. But Cheek said something, and he said many people would say this game would be boring, and if you're a first time watcher of football, you say, what are you guys so excited about? But for us who are very intricate and look at the little details in the game, it was still entertaining for me because the proactive
Yes.
changes of Scaloni. Okay, I'm not going to
Mhm.
wait. I need to change this game, and he tried and tried and tried, and he didn't change it. But just the action of being proactive and
Mhm.
wanting to change the game is those little things I really admire about it. But I totally agree with Cheeks in that it might look boring to some, but for me it was still an awesome game.
No, it was an all timer. Anyway, so that leads us as a segue into our maiden first ever Suria World Cup 2026 Rapid Fire Award Quiz. Well,
Sweet,
not a quiz, but
sweet.
award picks. Award picks. So first
Let's
off,
go.
I'll say the category and we'll go around and give our picks for it. Best match starting us off.
Best match. I will
Yes.
go for and I was talking to my wife previously, and I was saying, "Hon, what's your best? What do you think is the best match?" And we actually think that we have the same match, and that is Argentina Cape Verde. That
Oh my
match
goodness.
was just a classic match of
Yes.
the the David versus Goliath
Goliath.
coming
Yep. Yep.
together, and it was I am not going to lay down no matter what. And Cape Verde just fought and fought and fought, and in the end they didn't win. But I found that match thoroughly entertaining. I absolutely love it, and I cannot get it out of my mind. And for me, that would be my best match.
Go for it, Cheeks.
Dude, same match for me. I think it's just everything. I think what made it great is we saw the greatness of Cape Verde, what the small team can do. And I'll
Yes.
touch upon Cape
Yes.
Verde later on as we talk about in closing statements. But we also saw what a team like Argentina can do,
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah,
one player, Messi, can do.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And everything about Cape Verde was great. And I think they deserve kudos. We already saw a bit of that in the AFCON, but yeah, that would be my game. I don't want to talk too much about it. That's my game.
Absolutely. And for me, I would go with the England Mexico match at the Azteca. I think
Yeah,
that was a really good match.
yeah, yeah,
The Cape Verde Argentina match is up there, but I feel like with the rain, with the Azteca, with the
yeah.
Mexican fans, and just
Yeah, it was
the
it was
atmosphere
perfectly
at
set
that
up. Everything
it
about the
was just
match, it was perfect.
perfectly set up, and
Yeah,
the two teams gave their all 3-2. There was goals, there was tackles here and there, so that would be my best match from the tournament.
all right,
All right,
good stuff.
Mm.
yes. Next category of the award picks, rapid fire picks, is breakout star of the tournament.
Breakout star. I could
Mhm.
choose multiple players here. I could choose Boadi. I could choose Saibari. I could choose Kone. I could choose Quinones. Those are the players off the top of my head. However, I cannot look past and I cannot get this player out of my head whenever he performs, and that is Boadi. I think he's going to be an absolute world beater. I think I would love for us to get him, but I think he stood out in the World Cup as my breakout star.
Cool, go for it, Cheeks.
This is gonna be crazy because is he a breakout star? To me, he was a breakout star. Jed Spence. Just
Yes.
off those
Ooh,
two games,
Mm-hmm.
and
I was not
and
aware.
and this is an
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal fan applauding this guy.
Yeah,
Amazing, amazing.
I also hate Tottenham, but those last two games alone,
Yes.
I was not
Yes.
aware of your game, Jet Spence. I know you're a good player, but I was not aware
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
were that player.
Good
So
shout. That's a
Jet
good
Spence
shout.
for me.
Good
Yeah.
No,
shout.
absolutely. I agree with Cheeks that just spent in those last two matches against Argentina and France, and just weighing the opposition he played against and the performances he put forth in those matches, I say Jet Spence is my breakout star of the tournament. I hope he lands on a better team than he currently is. I'm not going to mention the team he's on. You all know already, but he deserves to. He deserves to. He deserves to be signed by a much bigger club or play for a much bigger team on the club level. So Jets fans, I tip of the cap to you, sir. You did
All right.
yourself proud this tournament. All right,
Good.
next category that we're looking at is best young player at the tournament.
Best young player. I could
Mhm.
have given this to a couple of players as well. I am thinking here Diamandi, some people say that, but he wasn't the best young player for me. I have an asterisk
Mhm.
still beside his name. I really love Desire Doué. I love Kubasi, and I love I said Diamandi already, but I would give it to Kubasi. I'm going to go with he
Yes,
was actually given the award as the best young player, and
exactly
I
at the
think he
tournament
deserves it.
by
I
FIFA.
didn't know
Yep.
much about him before, but I think that he deserved that best young player Kubasi for me.
Go for it, Cheeks.
That's a good shot, Kubachi. I mean, I didn't really notice him till towards the knockout, but he's a future star. For me,
Yeah.
it's Gilberto Mora from Mexico,
Yes,
Ooh,
17
Mexico,
years old.
17, 17, not even finished high
17.
school. Yeah.
Baller, man.
Listen, this guy hasn't even done his A levels yet. I it's not. He was a good player. He wasn't like on Haaland's level, on Kubarsi's level, but to be 17 and to hold
Yeah.
your own, and for the
Yes.
manager
Yes.
to trust you, I can't wait to see what he's going to do in the future. So
Yes.
Gilberto
Yes.
Mora for me.
Good shout. Very good shout.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And it is, for me, I'll go with Kubasi as well because FIFA chose him, not because FIFA chose him as the best young player of the tournament, but the performance he put forth in the knockout rounds and the position that he plays as center back. At that young age, you have the calmness and the
Yeah.
clarity to be able calmness of mind and the clarity of purpose to be able to hold that position and limit opposing teams from scoring or dominating against that Spanish defense. I think Kubasi has a huge future ahead of him, and he plays for Barcelona now, which is not a small team, but he has an even brighter future ahead of him. So, to put the cap to you, Kubasi, you deserve your award. All right. Next category we have is I'll switch these two, the next two up. Best team, and I think we're all gonna probably pick the
Best
same.
team.
But go for it.
I think.
Mhm.
I think the best team won the competition, man. I think the best team won the
Yes.
competition. I think
Mhm.
Spain
Yeah.
is the best team all round.
Mhm.
System football, they just hit it at the semifinals. They went to their peak with just a footballing lesson. But I think Spain is, yeah, best team
The
for
best
me.
team. No,
Yeah.
yeah, go for it, Chiefs.
It's unanimous, bro. There's nothing else to say.
Yes.
Like
No,
Yeah.
it's Spain. Like
that's it. That's it.
the best team
That's
won, just like
yes.
Arsenal
No,
champion said.
that's exactly my pick as well.
Done.
Whatever it's said about the team. I think they have the best team. Arsenal champions said it all. So Spain, you got the best team. And then lastly, most valuable player this tournament. And this is an interesting one because I think Rodri got it from FIFA, but I have my thoughts on that, and I'll share them
Yeah.
when it's my
Yeah.
turn. Go for it.
And I understand why you would have your thoughts because there are a few players that you can say, oh,
Yes.
if you're talking
Yes.
about most valuable player, this is the most rounded player that elevates their
Mm-hmm.
team to a next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am going to go Ballon d'Or Rodri. I'm going to stick with the actual MVP
Mm-hmm.
because, and why I did that is because Rodri went through a period where I'm like, is Rodri the same though?
Yes.
After his injury. And this tournament, he's like, hold my beer. Ballon d'Or Rodri is back. You know what I mean? So the way this guy controls the game in both directions, he starts the attack, he shuts off everything if from the
Mm-hmm.
opponent. So I'll stick with Rodri, even though it could be I could go Messi, I could go Kylian, but I'm a stick with Rodri.
Go for it, Chiefs.
It's a tough one. I really have to think about what does most valuable player mean. Not
Yeah, yeah,
necessarily the
Mm-hmm.
best
exactly,
player, but the most
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
valuable to their team. I
Hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
dying, man. This was hard. It could have been Bellingham for me. Could have been
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Mbappe.
good shout,
Could have
good
been
shout.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Messi. But
yep.
I still had to go for Rodri. And the reason why I went for Rodri is because there was a time when Jude Bellingham was shaky. There was a time when Mbappe was a bit shaky.
Hmm.
Messi was controlled today. He wasn't shaky
Yeah,
that much,
yeah,
but he's
yeah,
he's out
yeah.
of the game.
Contained.
Rodri is
Yeah.
in the game. Rodri is
Yes.
in the game, and I I, I lost hope in Rodri. Same thing as Arsenal champion. After last year, it's like I don't think he's coming back from injury. And again, someone who was next to me today is like, when you get an injury like that, you need a year or two to get back to confidence. Rodri is back. Like what he
Yeah.
did with Spain, at no point did he look shaky. I wish
Mhm.
someone cuts clips of Rodri from every game. He always looks like he's in control,
Yeah.
which to me, that's the most valuable player. I don't think that Spain win this World Cup without Rodri. I know it's a crazy shout, but I
Hmm.
don't think they win it without his composure and control.
I hear
Absolutely.
it.
And, again, I think it goes back to what Cheese said at the beginning of his take for most valuable player. And for me, it's a definition of most valuable player. Most valuable player to their team. And my pick for most valuable player goes to Jude Bellingham because take him out of that England team, and I
For
think
sure.
England are nowhere near what they got to. And also all the adversity that he has had to stomach, both from his own fans, from his own coach, from like external factors and everything. But for this tournament, I think Jude Bellingham was the most valuable player for his team for this tournament, in my opinion. But I'll leave it at that.
Can, can I say something
Go
about
for
that?
it.
Because you said
Go
Jude
for it.
Bellingham.
Yeah, go for it.
This is something that a lot of people watch English football know. England's biggest enemy is
It's
the
yeah.
pressure on them. The
Yes.
pressure.
Yes.
Media.
No team. You would think that England win the World Cup and the Euros every single time with the pressure that's put on them.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
true.
look at, and I'm sure Spain have pressure too. And maybe it's because I'm biased and I only watch English news, but I've never seen a team that get put through the ringer
Yes.
Yeah.
every time they
Yes.
make a mistake. I
Yeah.
actually
Yes.
think that last game, the third place game, you know why England played so free? Because everyone's already given up. People aren't even watching
Yeah.
the game.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
pressure
Yep.
on the English team is probably the biggest obstacle to England being
Yeah.
competitive.
I hear
It's
it,
not
man.
the quality of the
Absolutely.
players.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So we've gone through rapid fire Sulia Maiden World Cup awards picks, and we're gonna go directly to the next section, which is our overall World Cup 2026 closing thoughts and impressions. So panelists will go around and give us, your moments of the tournament, your impressions, your thoughts, how can it be improved, and then looking out to the future, what you want to see, hydration breaks or no hydration breaks. Go for it. Anybody,
I hear
let's
it.
go.
I
Let's
hear
hear
it.
your round thoughts.
Hydration, hydration breaks. Well, I'll start with this. I'll start with this. I asked myself the question. I asked it before the tournament ended, and I said, "Where does this World Cup rank for me?"
Mhm.
And I think it ranks as the greatest World Cup in my lifetime, at least.
Yeah.
So I'm a start with that. I think this was the greatest World Cup. I think it gave us very entertaining football. It gave us
Mhm.
lots of subplots. It gave us, it came with hydration breaks, which as I have expressed before, it wasn't my favorite thing, but it also affected the matches in some ways. It
Mhm.
turned the tide in one way or the other, so it also played its part. The high ticket prices I was not a fan of, and all of this kind of fed into the story of the World Cup, even though all of them weren't positive. But I think overall its packaging, at first it wasn't it didn't feel like it was going to be as good as it was. But I will say that it turned out to be an amazing, amazing World Cup. So shout out to the host of the World Cup, the US, Mexico, and Canada. At some point, they were also pulling their weight until they fell off, which is about where I expected them to fall off. So overall, I think it's a good. I think it's the best World Cup we've ever seen. Um, when it comes on to, I'm going to pick out two teams, and I'm going to do that for a reason, because these are teams that are seen as the flagship of football, and it's Argentina and Brazil. And why I'm doing that is because I think there is a huge rebuild to happen with both those
Mhm.
teams. And I know it sounds a
Mhm.
bit contradicting because Argentina just got there, but I think in the next World Cup tournament that we see, we will not see this Argentina team because there are a lot of older players on this. So I think whomever have this, I think Scaloni will still be there, and I think he's an amazing, amazing coach. But Ancelotti for Brazil, if he's still the manager, I think there are huge rebuilds to happen with these two huge flagship footballing countries. Uh, if I should describe the World Cup, just to wrap this up with a phrase, I would say football is in good hands. Football is in good hands, and
Yes.
that could be a bit doubtful before the tournament, because we get some people saying, football is going in the direction of set plays and da, 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 da. And don't point hands at my team, people. Leave me alone. But but I will say, from what we've seen, from the young players that we have gone through, from the tactical, from the tactics that we have gotten from the coaches at the World Cup, I will say that I think football is in good hands. It's at a good place overall. System football still proves to be king, but I will end on that. I think football is in good hands.
Let's go for it, Chiefs.
I'm gonna try to do this in like 3 minutes because there's so much to say on this World Cup. And I'm gonna point out, whenever I look at the videos, I do look at the comments, and someone commented on one of our videos. Interesting that these Americans are here commenting on football, not knowing
Yes.
who we are,
Yes.
not
Not
knowing
knowing
where
who
we're
we
from.
are.
I was like, sometimes I want to put something in the comments. No hate on the person. I think that person has a bias towards Americans and that Americans don't know
Yeah.
anything about
Hey,
football, which is
everybody's
fine.
entitled.
But
Everybody's entitled
I
to their
mean,
opinion.
there's some American slang here, but if you hear us speak, you might realize that maybe we are not American. We are American. We live here, but from our accents, we probably didn't grow up here or
Yes.
we weren't born here. But I'm gonna let
Yes.
that go. But all that to say, this is one of the greatest World Cups I have experienced. That's my personal opinion. I think partially
Hmm.
because I lived in Germany when there was the World Cup in Germany. The hype for me wasn't as big. And I think the reason why is because the US is a country that is very isolated from the rest of the world.
Hmm.
And the world came to the US and showed all the beauty that the World Cup
Hmm.
brings. The
Yeah.
Scottish in Boston, the
Hmm.
Norwegians with the roaring, Cape
Yeah.
Verde, a
Hmm.
country that some Americans don't even know where it is. They know
Yeah.
Hmm.
now.
Yeah.
Anyone who didn't know where Cape Verde is, they know
Yeah.
now.
A hundred
This is
Hmm.
percent.
one of the this is one of the best World Cups because we had 48 teams, and I hated the fact that there were 48 teams.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we doing? But
Hmm.
honestly, these 48 teams, not all of them, well, my biggest disappointments, Turkey and Tunisia, they disappointed me. I expected better. Tunisia, not as much, but Turkey disappointed me. But these 48 teams came and they played their heart out. They tried their best. And all that to say, and I want to really round up with this. I don't have much to say, but I feel like for the people who live in the US, this
Hmm.
is the greatest World Cup
Hmm.
Yeah.
because we felt it. We felt what brings the World Cup together. And a lot of people, not in my case, because I'm not from here, I'm well traveled, and like all of us here are well traveled, but they got to learn more about the culture, and people got to learn
A
about
hundred
the
percent.
US. Sorry, there's more to that. Also, entertainment value. I have never seen a
Yes.
World Cup with so much controversy. A president calling FIFA, what are we doing? This is
Yes.
like prime
Yes.
time television. This is like a telenovela.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. A
that's what
hundred.
another thing that made it great. And the last thing I would like to say is even though there were 48 teams, I feel like the gap in quality is closing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if I mean Morocco are knocking on the door to being one of the
They
top
are.
10 countries in the world for me.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
there's a
Yes.
lot, Cape Verde isn't even in the top 20, I think. I'm being safe. I'm sure they're farther down. But they
Oh
gave
yeah.
people a
Sure.
run for their money. And now that Cape
Hmm.
Verde did that, I think some other teams are starting to do that. And hopefully football, soccer in the US, this is a time to push it forward because I think the US will be a team to watch in the next 20 years. I'll say 20 to be safe. So that's all I'll say.
No,
The football
absolutely,
gap is
absolutely.
closing.
Absolutely. No, I concur with everything that you both have said. I think, at the start of this World Cup, Arsenal champion will let us know that, that that World Cup vibe wasn't there. But once the matches started, coming at that fast and furious, and, once the frenzy hit, you could tell that this World Cup has arrived. Then I was apprehensive a little bit about the expansion to 48 teams initially, but I think it made this World Cup even more inclusive and showed countries like Cape Verde and other countries that otherwise would not have had the opportunity to showcase their talents. And like Cheeks mentioned, Cape Verde is knocking on the door. I would rate them based off of their performance in this World Cup top 20 team because they gave both Spain and Argentina, both countries that went to the final, a top five
Yeah.
for their money. But again, I
They
think
rated
the entertainment
67.
value, yes, the entertainment value with this World Cup was off the charts. From the bromances on the field, with Mbappe and Bellingham to the triple threat attack of France with Olise and Mbappe and Dembele and just the moment and like Tiff mentioned, Folarin Balogun's red card and the president phone call. There was always something to talk about. Something, was Zina's performance from Cape Verde. This World Cup birthed a new star on the football scene, Bosnia. And I'm curious to follow his career and where he lands on the club level and all of that. So I think this World Cup delivered. It was a huge success, and big ups to everybody that was part of it and made it possible. Go for it, Chiefs.
As you speak, I realize we keep talking about Cape Verde because Cape Verde is the team that won our hearts. But I
Yes,
also want to give a shout out to some teams that really went through it. I mean, Curacao,
yes,
hats off,
yes,
Curacao.
yes,
Like,
yes, yes.
applaud them and their whole story. I mean, you all remember the coach Dick Advocat, and I'm not sure if
Yeah.
Yes.
this is correct, but Dick Advocat
So,
got them to the World Cup. But
mhm,
because his daughter or someone in his family was sick, he couldn't coach them during the World Cup.
yes.
So
Ah,
respect to them.
all right.
And this might seem a bit political, even though it doesn't need to be. But respect to Iran. Iran really had to
Yes.
go through it this World Cup.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Mhm.
a lot.
it wasn't
Yeah,
easy for
sure.
them, but they
No,
showed
No,
no,
up and they
no.
absolutely.
represented their.
Absolutely.
These are
Yeah,
countries that
100.
are going through it. DRC. These are countries that are suffering, and they showed up at the
Mhm.
World Cup and they repped their
Yep.
country. I
Yep.
respect it. So I just want to say that.
100.
No,
100.
absolutely. Very, very well said. Very well put. We couldn't have wrapped up our final episode this World Cup any better with these thoughts and these shout outs to these countries that made it as spectacular a World Cup as it became. So, and thank you to our fans who've been watching, subscribing, commenting on all of these episodes that we've had during this World Cup. I would say this in our final sign off that maybe this may not be our final sign off. So look out for Sulia in the future.
Booyah!
We have things working in the pipeline that we'll
That's right.
share with you once it comes to fruition. But for the time being, it was amazing presenting and giving our thoughts and giving our impressions on the matches of these World Cups to you, our fans, and thank you again for your support, for your encouragement, participation. Anything you want to add off, guys, before we sign off?
Nah, I echo the same thing, man. Just thanks for the love. Thanks for the love, people. We
Thanks for the love.
appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
thank
looking
you.
forward to giving you more content.
More content coming up. Yep. Go ahead, Cheeks. You have
Yeah.
something to
No,
add?
I just want to
Sign
say
off?
thank you to everyone. This was a great World Cup. I think it's also important to realize that this channel specifically is a channel that comes from someone who had a dream, had a
Mhm.
vision, and went ahead and did. That's not easy. Respects to you, coach. Like Arsenal champion
Yes.
Sure.
Chiefs,
Yes,
we're
sir.
friends, but like we all think about having a podcast, but